Hello guys, welcome to Kobanka King's channel, and in this video I'm going to tell you my little self-taught developer's success story to inspire those of you guys who is just at the very beginning of your own programming path, your career path or whatever. If you want to be a freelancer or things like that, so if you just beginning to explore this wide road of programming and technologies and all this web development, all this stuff, if you feel a little bit overwhelmed if you feel a little bit overwhelmed regarding all those amount of information available there in the internet, you would probably be interested to listen to this sort of a story, because I did pass through this sort of path for the last probably 4 years, and I think I definitely have something interesting to share with you. So if you're interested, let's actually dive in. So I started programming for about 4 years ago, and my initial purpose was actually to teach computer chess engine to play chess in my style. Yeah, that might have seemed a bit too naive and well, maybe not the best ever goal to start to kick off with the learning how to code, but still that was my initial goal actually. And I actually didn't really want to learn to code, believe it or not. I just wanted to make that damn chess engine stockfish to play like I wanted to play. And I just I've downloaded the C++ code. I've never seen C++ code before. I only had a very basic experience with a basic programming language back in early 90s when I was a kid. So I had no idea regarding C++. And I actually opened the source files, and I was hoping to find some sort of evaluation tables or something like that I can eventually change, so the behavior of the chess engine would change accordingly. Well, I didn't succeed that. If you ever seen the stockfish's source code, you would definitely understand why. So I started to find, I've started looking for some sort of less complicated engines, and eventually I find a Vice chess engine, which is covered in a great over than 70 videos YouTube series by Blue Fever Software, which is a great guy who basically was the person thanks to who I actually came to programming and came to making YouTube videos regarding programming as well. So I deeply appreciate that guy. Unfortunately, I have no idea regarding his real name, but still, Blue Fever Software, if you would ever watch this video, thank you, man, for inspiring me to this sort of path, both programming and making videos. So I hope maybe someone a guy one day would actually be able to say the same regarding me and this channel. So I will be really I'll be the happiest person in the world if I would inspire somebody to go this path and succeed. So that time my daily full-time job was so far from programming that you could hardly imagine that. I was a tiler, so it's like building construction. It's really tough from the physical perspective. So unfortunately, my English is too short to describe that sort of profession in great details. Well, in details at all, basically. So I can't describe that, but that was a real pain, and I hated my job with all my heart. I really hated that so much, and I couldn't ever basically imagine that one day I would become a programmer. So, but nevertheless, I did chess programming for 3 years and ended up basically writing several chess engine of my own creation that are available on my GitHub. I only did some covers here in my early YouTube videos covering those engines. I even did try to create some new ones for YouTube series basically, but that time I couldn't code and talk at the same time. So yeah, that was a tough challenge for me at that time. So first I did write the code, and then I made a video on what does this code particularly do, and I was just explaining the code I've written before. So that was kind of the place where I started. Also, I did explore the vast majority of any possible sideways probably. So from real mode 16-bit operating system development, believe it or not. So once I did implement a 16-bit real mode operating system consistent of brainfuck interpreter written in x86 assembly and compiled with NASM assembly on Linux. And that was basically the very first video in this channel ever, if I'm not mistaken. Well, at least it was one of my first videos, and even now it didn't get that much of views. Probably I don't even remember how many, maybe 200s, no more than 200s. Well, at least at the time of recording of this video. So that wasn't really popular, and but you know, like that was a start. So I felt that in order to go further on, in order to develop your own self, and just bear in mind that I'm a self-taught programmer, so I didn't ever end any courses. I didn't ever spend any single dollar to learn how to code. So all the sources I've been using to teach myself basically is the internet, the YouTube. Then I taught myself to read the documentation, and that was the significant leap in my development, in my self-development path basically. Also, I have a good friend of mine who's a professional programmer, and he did help me to build the very solid basics in terms of deep understanding of principle behind the programming as a science. So I mean, not like just an ability to write a code, but just a deep understanding of what's going on in the computer at the very lowest level. And to be honest, that knowledge really helped me along the way, because having those really basic knowledge, I actually was available to learn new programming languages quite pretty fast, because I understood the gist essence behind them. So I started the very first language I started to learn was actually JavaScript, and what I was trying to do with that, I was making a chessboard view rendered dynamically with a pure JavaScript. I had no idea about jQuery at that time, and also there were chess pieces, and I just clicked these pieces and moved them around the board. And also I had a move generator there that did generate the moves, and it was validating whether the user input is correct or not. So that was my kind of very first experience regarding programming in general. And when I was reviewing my code, my very first JavaScript code, for about, I don't know, maybe half a year ago, I was looking for my code of 4 years old at this moment, and it was so funny to see that. So the function definition was so weird, and no good habits in code styling, etc. So this was really so fun to review that code, that basically my own code. So further on, I decided that basically I need to find out for my own self what actually I did learn for that 3 years of chess programming, and what still I can learn. So after JavaScript, I started to deeply learn in C language, and that was the time frame when I was a great fan of Wise Chess Engine by Blue Fever Software. So I followed every of his video from the first probably till the 30, I don't know which one exactly. Well, after video of say 40, it's not about the chess engine development. It's more like, well, it is about the development, but those features are not that basic, so I wasn't really interested in those videos. But the very first 30 or 40 videos I did follow from the very beginning and to the very end. So I just opened the YouTube, and then I opened my code editor and the console with the compiler install, of course, and I was just typing the code from screen and running the code. And also just to feel a little bit like a programmer, because I have no basics in C that time at all. I just didn't understand anything that time. So I was just trying to give the variables different names. So, and that was the only difference between my code and the code that I've seen on the screen. And when my code did compile just exactly the same as Blue Fever's Software's code did compile, and especially when my code did produce exactly the same output as his code did, that was really amazing. I was probably the happiest person in the world at that time. So Later on, I realized that during those 3 years, I did gather some sort of an experience that I would really love to share with other people, and that was the reason actually to start my YouTube channel. And to be honest, I had several attempts of doing that, but my first, I don't know, four or maybe 5 attempts doing that actually failed, and I deleted my channels. First, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 channels. I just deleted them without getting more than, I don't know, 3 subscribers probably, and a couple of views each video, and those subscribers and views were only by my friends. And I really hated the content so much. I didn't like how I sound, I didn't like what's going on in the video. I hated that with all my heart, and just delete that because I didn't ever want anybody to see that sort of shit widely in the internet. So I just got rid of that stuff, and that's it. But further on, the desire to share your knowledge actually started to win within inside me, and this channel is my well, at this moment is my last attempt to create a YouTube channel, and this time I'm running this channel almost for about a year. So probably I'm not sure exactly. I should have let me basically try to see when my earliest video was actually created. So I've created more than 100 programming videos at this time. So let me just see the date, the creation date of the very first video ever. Okay, yeah, my real mode operating system was the very first. Okay, so 1 year ago, yeah. So Code Monkey Kings is already going on for about 1 year, believe it or not. And my very first video was no sound, no explanation. I just yeah, let me just make it the quality a little bit better. So my very first video, actually, I did write a program that is producing this sort of output. So I'm just recording my console here, and here is the program that is kind of writing the source code. So here it writes the C program. I don't remember even what. Okay, so this is the program of the program that is producing this sort of output. So yeah, and then probably even the console would be enabled automatically. I remember, like, I did write some sort of a bash script to first run this program, then compile the code, and then just to see the output, something like that. I don't really remember. It was really long time ago. Well, probably not in this one, but that doesn't really matter that much, basically. So it's for about a year, and you know, guys, like for oh, sorry, just my camera has disappeared. Camera view disappeared. So for the first kind of probably 8 months, I believe, I had for about 20 subscribers. So that wasn't really that much. So before I started making web scraping tutorial and anything web technologies related, any related stuff to web technologies, I really have, well, no more than 20, maybe 30 subscribers, and that's it. And I had for about like from 10 to 20 views on every my video. But to get that 20 views, well, I could get 20 views probably for a couple of months. So that was really tough. But you know, like, I never wanted to have many subscribers or many views or being popular. I always wanted just to share my knowledge, and that was the case. So I didn't really need some sort of an outer motivation for keep doing this. So that was just pretty fun, and that was enough to going on with these videos. And the turning point, now it's the very main, the most important part probably of this video, that the turning point of my entire life started just at the moment when I started making my videos. So after actually I started making my videos, I've suddenly realized that the amount of knowledge that seemed to me that I had them, it wasn't really that big on the real deal. So I didn't know that much as I thought about myself. So I wasn't that good as I thought about myself, and making YouTube videos actually helped me to realize the real value of my skills. And I've realized that my skills has absolutely zero value regarding the freelancing market, say, or whatever market where you can get paid for your code. And you know, like, getting paid for your code was totally impossible for me, because you know, like, I understood that I did spend for about 3 years at that time. It was for about a year ago. This was for about a year ago, and a year ago I didn't yet start my freelancing career. I didn't make money via programming and like software development, web development. So 1 year ago I didn't have that. So I started my freelancing career last spring. Yeah. So the turning point was when I realized that it's so I just started researching some sort of tasks that are paid, so something that is needed to people, something that people are ready to pay for. And the very first kind of stuff that I've discovered for myself was web scraping. And at that time I didn't know Python at all, so but you know, like, learning Python wasn't a big deal for me, because I didn't know C and JavaScript at that time, and even I had a little experience writing Android apps in Java, inheriting from all those classes back in those days. So it wasn't a big deal to learn Python, and you know, like, I wasn't that enthusiastic regarding Python at that time. But when I just started learning web scraping, I've suddenly realized that this is a kind of great niche regarding software development jobs. And then there was a chance that I got from one of the guy. Well, I consider him to be my friend, but later on it turned out that it's not like that, but doesn't really matter that much. So he introduced me to one of his clients at Upwork. And I'm working with that client still until today. And at that time, so last spring, I started with $5 per hour, and now I'm working for $15 per hour. I mean, like, it's not really that big salary for, say, UK-based or US-based programmer. That would probably laugh at this, but for the third world country guy like me, or like I know that many of my subscribers are from India or from somewhere from the east. So I mean, like, I think that for you guys and for me, like, we're kind of the same, and for us $15 per hour is not really that bad salary, to be honest. So I don't think that's so bad. I even had $18 per hour contract once, but that lasted only for a month and a half. Then yes, so there was some personal troubles with the guy who introduced me to the client. So the client was okay, but the guy who introduced me, we didn't find the way to cooperate, and I left the project. So I left that $18 per hour contract. So now I'm actually freelance at Upwork for $15 per hour, and that's pretty comfortable for me. And of course I'm looking for some sort of development of this sort of stuff. And also I realized that Upwork is not my kind of dream, but still, you know, like, compared to what I had before becoming a freelancer and programmer, it's definitely much better. So let's summarize everything I said in this video. Basically, making YouTube videos helped me to get in touch with a wider community, and helped me to realize how this world works, actually, how things works in this world. So also my YouTube channel is a big playground to improve my English, the pronunciation and the writing skills and so on. Yeah, I also forgot to say that I actually had some experience in contributing to open source projects. Like, okay, just don't really want to talk about this because okay, just hold on a sec. Okay, guys, sorry, just my wife has just distracted me a bit, so I'm completely lost the clue regarding what I was talking about. Okay, so probably I was summarizing this video. Okay, so actually sharing your knowledge with a wider community lets you evaluate your own self in a fair way. So you have a clear picture of what is your strengths and weaknesses, and you know, like, I believe that's really quite important. So you know, like, I believe that the main goal of this YouTube channel, the main thing that this YouTube channel brought to me, it brought me a programming job, believe it or not, but not directly, of course. So I didn't met my clients here on YouTube or things like that, but it really helped me to explore my own self, to find my own self, basically, and to realize what I can do and what I can't do also. And this and even now, you know, like, at this moment my YouTube channel is kind of like the forward forces to explore some new topics, new niches. So I'm really interested regarding data science and analytics and machine learning. So probably before ever starting doing that in my freelancing work jobs, first I would probably make tons of tutorials regarding data science and things like that. Well, at least web scraping actually is a really good fit to start with data analytics, because web scraping actually allows you to update a data set to work with further on. So that's quite important. And one last thing, yeah, I just forgot to say that as well, that how I did come to web development. You know, like, there are lots of videos there on YouTube telling you that it's really hard to become a web developer from scratch, and that's actually really true. But there is a little hack in this kind of freelancing world. So I did use that hack, and some guys I know use that as well and succeeded. So the hack is really simple. When you start your career path as a developer specializing in web scraping, it often happens that your client wants some sort of a user interface, either to run your scrapers or to manage them somehow or whatever. So there comes a need to manage either the scraper or the database where the scraper stores that sort of data, etc. So the very first web development assignments, tasks and jobs I had in my Upwork career actually were totally 100% related to web scraping. So at first I did my scrapers, and then I did a little web application, either manipulating those scrapers or manipulating the data that being scraped by those scrapers. So that's kind of it. And you know, like, that's a really great starting point for web development. And basically it allows you to obtain a real-world experience, so you can fill your portfolio with the real-world projects, not only those that you are doing for yourself, but those are really important as well, to my own opinion at least. And actually then you can showcase your jobs that you did for money, and that basically motivates your future clients to hire you and to pay you for that sort of stuff. And well, so that's kind of cool. And also from web development I got introduced to API development, which is a really interesting topic to my own opinion as well. So I had one totally API development related job at Upwork, which was a really great experience. Now I'm making some API along with the web app I was developing before as well, so that's also interesting. So yeah, like, API is also pretty cool. Okay guys, sorry, just lost my thought a bit. So what I wanted to say, okay, let me just pause the video and just remember what I wanted to say. Okay, I don't remember really. So maybe some next time, maybe in some of my next blog videos, if those are about to appear in this channel, I'm not sure. Okay guys, so let's basically start right at this point. So I really hope that you enjoyed listening to this to my little developer story, and I really hope this would motivate and inspire you to grow as freelancers, as developers, whatever. Okay, I just remembered what did it say. So you know, like why I did choose freelancing instead of working in the company. It's because of the sense of freedom. So the feeling of freedom is kind of one of the most important things in my life ever. So I don't really want to be dependent on time frames and company culture and stuff like that. I really hate that with all of my heart. So I just really always wanted to be free, and freelancing seemed to me like the best ever opportunity out there. But as it turned out, that being a freelancer doesn't really mean to be free at all. So you're still not free because all the same time frames. You're just free in terms of geography. So you can work remotely, or maybe flexible hours, but not really that much. So you're still kind of you're hooked by your contracts, and that's not really a freedom, to be honest. So my next steps here is actually trying to create some sort of my own projects that would probably make some passive income in future. I'm not sure, but I understand that being a freelancer is one level of skills, and creating somewhat your own project is completely different level of skills. So you need to be far more professional in order to make some sort of a product that other people would potentially buy. And at this moment, I'm trying to cooperate with the pythonanywhere.com team, and there is a great guy called whose name is Giles Thomas, and he has some talks at EuroPython conference here in YouTube. Well, those videos are pretty old, but still very interesting. There he explains how Python Anywhere works, and at this moment we have some email messaging with him, and I'm asking him questions regarding Python Anywhere, how it works, the technologies, all this stuff. So that's really interesting. And you know, like at this moment I feel like I really want to learn from somewhat a developer who following the path that looks like mine. And basically there is even a name for this sort of approach. So they call this MVP Agile. That means minimal valuable product agile approach. So when you're not trying to make something perfect from the take one, but instead you just trying to build something that works, and you improve this just along the way, as far basing on user feedbacks and so on. And my current attempts I can hardly believe that my current attempts would bring me some income in future. But you know, like I could hardly believe that becoming a web developer or a programmer and getting paid for my code is possible as well. But this actually that dream did come true. So why not? Maybe my dream to create my own product and make some income on that would come true as well. So at this moment I'm running a web scraping info site and some analytics site which gathers the data from all of my sites, including web scraping info. And one of my last project that I created for my YouTube videos, actually I did bought a $5 per month subscription at pythonanywhere.com and build a web application that, let me just show you this for those of you who didn't yet seen that. So okay, it's need a password. Okay, I won't show you this. See my previous video. There is a one-time scraper where I actually show the environment. So I just built an online Python environment that allows you to execute code remotely on the remote server and writing your web scrapers in the cloud. Basically, that's kind of one of my last ideas. And you know, like that sort of a project is the first ever project that I'm using on my own. And you know, like my good old friend says that if you like to use the project that you've created, that means that someone else would also can love your project one day. But if you don't use your product yourself and you hate your product, then nobody would love it ever. So bearing that in mind, I'm trying to do my best and developing further on, and now I'm just trying to be more kind of product oriented. So I'm trying to explore what people need and how exactly what things are they ready to pay for, etc, etc, etc. I did even start promoting Python Anywhere cloud services because it's kind of simple stuff. So if somebody would subscribe to a paid plan at pythonanywhere.com using the referral link below this video, I would be getting 10% monthly of that sort of subscription. And you know, guys, I have one guy already subscribed using my referral link here. Let me just quickly show you that. So here at account referrals, here is the guy. So his name is WebSahil. WebSahil, if you're watching this video, I mean, really, man, thank you, because you know, like, you are the very first person who did ever subscribe using my referral link, and it's kind of great victory for me. Even though it seems like WebSahil didn't order a paid account yet, still I hope he will do this one day, because you know, like, cloud web scraping is really cool stuff, and if you didn't yet try it, you definitely should have done that. And if you want to have a look how it feels, you definitely should check out one of my last one-time scraper videos. So actually you will see how I work in that development environment, experimental Python development environment intended for remote web scraping purposes of my own creation. So it feels really so fantastic to work in that sort of environment, even though it has some limitations still. Well, I believe that's really cool. Okay, guys, so basically this is it for this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or something. I would be happy to chat with you. So that's kind of it. Okay, so this is it for this video. So until next time, and take care. Bye, guys.